Ethos founder. What is the name? So he started with the company and that one display was there in model number 1, which was telling about they thought of getting the respect from all the stakeholders. So one of the major stakeholders of any company is the employee of the company. So employee satisfaction, employee engagement could be possible only when the company is following on one side all the rules, regulations, laws, bylaws, on the other side it is more ethical, more cultural, more following all the value systems. And that value system following starts right from the top. You cannot start the value system developed from the bottom. The leaders have to think about creating a value system or creating a kind of ethical culture in the organization. That will be seen in our next modules in number 3 and 4 more in detail, where I'll give you some examples. Right now, we can just try to understand the values which are followed at the individual level, at the team level, and at the corporate level, company level. That is likely to have these impacts on the different stakeholders. One of the major stakeholders is your employees, because of the employees your company runs, and if the employees are satisfied, and they will remain more engaged. Now there is a concept of employee engagement. Have you studied it somewhere in some other subject? Employee engagement? Was it a concept you heard of? What happens in engagement? A very common word which we know. What happens in engagement? A very common word. Day-to-day routine we use it. Engagement में क्या होता है? What do you mean by engagement? हो गई किसी के तो क्या होता है? Same meaning I am asking. What happens when you engage with somebody? When you have an engagement? Huh? Meetings.
I think
if you
are not there, someone else take the.
That happens later. Engagement होता है मतलब क्या? Relation. You will establish a relationship with the understanding that both of you will trust each other. Both of you will be there for you for the lifetime. Both of you will have a permanent bond between you and the other person. The same thing or the same meaning, rather the word is taken from the same word engagement. When you are talking about employee engagement, the engagement of an employee with the company, it is like you are getting married to the company. Then only you are likely to be loyal to the spouse. So engagement, the important meaning of engagement is being loyal to your life partner. And when you are thinking about, say from corporate perspective, there is a concept called as employee engagement. You want your people to be engaged. And what happens after the engagement? You are of course loyal to each other, you love each other, you like each other, you take care about each other, you respect each other, you work together, you help each other in difficult times. All that is expected to happen by the employees for the company. It is as if you are married to the company, so you will remain engaged till the time you die. It means you will remain with that person, even if he is beating you, still even if you are fighting with each other, those are going to be there. In the industry also there are fights. In the sense, there are different kind of matters on which people will go to the court. There are different kind of places, incidences where people will physically, verbally fight with each other. Ultimate aim is to settle down that fight and come to the conclusion. Don't you think that the same thing happens in the couples who are engaged, they get married later, they do have problems with each other. Rather, there is not a single couple whom I have come across, and you will also come across, who was totally 100% happy for the lifetime. They will always have some complaints or other for somebody else. The reason lies between the differences between the two individual human beings, and that is bound to be there. The most difficult resource to be handled in the organization is human resources, and for the simple reason that every individual human being is different. So you are definitely different from your life partner. If you will require a fan on 5 speed when you are sleeping, your life partner is bound to have a fan switched off. This is a simple example I am giving from day-to-day experiences people share with me. So the same thing happens with employee. When employed by some organization, he will try and stick to the organization if both of them are happy with each other. Even if they are not, they will try to adjust with each other in every situation, and they will stick to the organization. That's what we call as an employee engagement. When we say that employee engagement is at a higher level in a particular company, it means that the turnover of the employee is very much less. That means people are joining the company, but they will not leave unless and until there is very strong reason that your partner is very much unfaithful to you. You will leave and get a divorce. So same thing made applicable here. Unless there is very negative policies or the policy which have affected you too much, or maybe you are defamed in the organization, or maybe you don't like a particular policy, you are met with an accident and the company doesn't pay you compensation, only in that case you leave the company. They have committed you some kind of promotions, some kind of salary hike, they have not given, then only you leave the company. Otherwise, ideally, you are expected to remain engaged with one company and continue with that company till your retirement. That concept is very much working in the country like Japan. In Japan, they call it as a concept of lifetime employment. Means once you join that company, you will not leave that company till you get retired. When is this possible? Only when you know that what is going to be your situation, your position, your salary, the benefits you will be getting, the perks you will be getting, the allowances you will be getting, the facilities you will be getting, the welfare you will be getting when you will get retired at the age of 50 or 60, when you join at the age of 21. You are being given an appointment letter. At that time, it is told to you at the 50th years of age where you will be there in the hierarchy, what position you will be holding, what are going to be your all benefits which you will be getting at the age of 58. That doesn't unfortunately happen in most of the companies in India. You don't know whether they will keep you tomorrow or not. They will tell you kal se mat aao. But in Japan, it doesn't happen. They have got a concept called as lifetime employment, which is talking about employee engagement. So if the company has got the policy to keep the people engaged, means tied up with the company, then only the company is said to be a valued or ethical company. And that is the impact of values. So if the company is following certain values, then employees will always remain engaged, and of course for remaining engaged they have to be satisfied. So only the satisfaction will lead to the engagement. If you are dissatisfied with your friends, with your family members, with your spouse, you are likely to get separated away from each other. So if you are satisfied with the company policies, all the facilities which are given to you, then only you are likely to stick and stay with the company, which is otherwise not possible if the company is not following values. So employees is one of the major stakeholders. They will get affected because of the value system the companies are following. Your customers will be there. There is a concept in marketing called as a repeat customer. Have you heard of it? Repeat customer means the same customer going to the same company again for buying a similar kind of product. This happens with two-wheelers, four-wheelers very often, or maybe your handsets. So you want to have the handset of the same brand when you decide to change the handset. That's what we call it as a brand loyalty. That brand loyalty could be possible only when the company has devised certain value systems of commitment to the customer. So we have committed, say XYZ thing, we are following all those things. Then only just like employees, customers will also be satisfied, customer delight will be there, and then you come out with a repeat customer kind of the outcome of your behavior, your policies. So if suppose you have got some product purchased from some company, some XYZ product, and that product is not working properly, you go to the company, they will say, नहीं हमने ऐसा बोला नहीं था, हमने ऐसे commit नहीं किया था, so we cannot refund you, we cannot repair you. So guarantee, warranty, there are terms conditions. Then they will tell you एक साल का guarantee तो कल खत्म हो गया, आज कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So there are cases where the companies have done the work even going beyond the warranty to keep the customers satisfied. So if the company policies are devised like that, and sometimes going beyond the rules and the regulations, if the companies are satisfying the customer, then we call it as a customer delight. Customer is getting more than happy, and that could be possible only when the companies have got the policies like that to keep the customers also happy. That is another stakeholder. Third stakeholder is the government, of course. Every company has to think about paying all the taxes, income taxes and professional tax. Then now GST they will have to pay to the government. So the more company is paying taxes, the more it is following the value system. So there are crores of taxes paid by the big notch companies in our country, and all the countries for that matter. The companies which are stock listed, I hope you understand the meaning of stock listed. The companies which are listed, which are raising the money from public funds, those companies are supposed to keep their every document open to the public. Therefore, balance sheets of the companies are available on their websites. Why? Because transparency is one thing which will satisfy the customers as well as the employer, and will definitely satisfy the government. So government will come to know what is the income of the company, what is the share price of the company, how many shares are there with the common people, how many shares owners or BODs are holding, and then they will come to know what is the income, what is the expenditure, what is the profit, and out of the profit how much amount of taxes the company is paying. So in that case, the company, if it is following the what do you call, stock exchange norms or the listed companies norms, then they are following the value system, which is maybe as a part of the rules and regulations, but still following it. Employee taxes, that means companies are supposed to deduct some kind of taxes which you are liable to pay, which we just now discussed, TDS. So they are supposed to deduct the tax. There are cases where the company is deducting the tax from you, but they are not depositing against your name. Many cases are there in Indian companies. So where they are not loyal, they are not following the value system which the government has asked them to follow. Competitors, you will have to have value system of not defaming the competitors and then bringing out your business. There are cases where one company has filed a case against another company that in your advertisement you are showing our product. Typically you might have seen in detergent or maybe soaps, they are showing some another soap which is of some another company. All of us can make it out that this soap is belonging to some another competitor company. And there are cases where companies filed a case and it is proven that it is their soap which they have shown in the advertisement, and they have to pay some crores of rupees as a compensation to the competitor company. This shouldn't happen. So whenever you are advertising, you should not defame. That may be the fact, but then you cannot defame any other company, your competitors specifically, which will further lead to the common CSR goals we discussed in first year module. CSR is corporate social responsibilities. So the similar type of industries, similar type of companies may have CSR activities. There is one company, purposefully I am not naming, that is a dental cream. Dental cream रहता है ना अपना, क्या बोलते हैं, dental paste, toothpaste. So toothpaste company. So 2-3 such toothpaste companies in India, they came together and they done a tremendous work on community dentistry. Means they have gone to the villages, they have gone to the people who are not available with those kind of toothpaste available in the market with the quality what they want, and then they went to villages and people to people, every individual to individual, making them understand the importance of keeping your teeth health properly. So that was a initiative taken by all the toothpaste companies at par. So all the even competitor companies came together and they done a common CSR for the benefit of the company, for the benefit of the people around in the society. See, whichever businesses you are into, you are supposed to think about the society. Ultimate aim of any business, any company is that it should help to the society, individual as well as society, to solve their problems with their facing. Or you have come out with some kind of solution, that solution was not available earlier. So if you are doing this kind of philanthropic activities through your company, then only you have got every right to be there in the society. So from that context, you have to do, as a company, as an organization, some CSR activities. There are certain rules, regulations for that given in Companies Act. You should be following, because competitors are again one of your stakeholders, because based on their strategies, you might have to devise your strategies to go one level above the competitor. And last but not the least, for the society, value system. As one of the stakeholders, society, you are creating job creation. Therefore, our government is giving importance to Make in India or starting entrepreneurship firm. Government is giving any individual human being 10 lakh rupees of loan, 10 to 20 lakh rupees without any collateral security if you want to start a new business. Why? Because they want, our government wants the new businesses to be started here itself, so that new employment will get generated. Then economic development will of course happen, because Make in India movement is for the same purpose, that more businesses will start in India, so that we don't require to import from raw material and maybe probably the finished goods from outside country. Typically we are importing more from China. Most of the countries are importing more from China. So even though there was a corona, which is a known fact, started or generated in China, nobody could do against anything against China. It's because all the companies and all the countries are so much stuck up in business with the China, they cannot totally boycott the entire country. For the simple reason that most of the products which are being generated, the spare parts are manufactured in the China. Then most of the handset, the entire handset is manufactured in China. So you cannot stop using mobiles. You don't have any option. So you have to go for. There are some Korean companies, there are American companies manufacturing handsets. So all of a sudden you cannot stop using the China-made handset and purchase US-made handset, which is Apple. You cannot probably afford. So that is just one example. There are many other cases, many manufacturing companies like car companies, automobile companies, they are bringing in, they are importing many material from China. So we cannot all the way stop importing from China, and we cannot all the way boycott. No other countries can do that. What I am talking about the economic development. So to stop that, government is thinking about all these things which we are importing not only from China but from all other countries. We should try to manufacture it here itself, so that we don't have any kind of dependency on any country. So which will help in economic development, because business is improving, the total turnover of money which will increase, and probably our rupee will go higher on the dollar side. So economic development will happen. Health and safety is to be seen. We have got a separate module, probably third or fourth, I don't remember, whether we are talking about CSR and the public health and safety. So my business should not be any way dangerous to the health and safety of the people who are whether using my product or not using my product. Those who are using, definitely I take care about their safety. Therefore, earlier when I say maybe 10-20 years before, when the cars were manufactured, only the front seats used to have seat belt. But now even if you consider the lowermost costed car, it will have seat belts for all the 4 people. All the WhatsApp and all the groups are nowadays talking about the Cyrus Mysteries died in a car accident. He was sitting in the backside in a Mercedes Benz. Still he died because of the only reason he was not wearing seat belts. So even if you are sitting at the backside, your safety is taken care by the manufacturer of the company. That we are providing you the safety measures. If you are not using it, company will not be responsible. But in a way, what they are trying to think about, the safety of the customers. You can think about any product around. You will try to see that the safety features are there in all the products, even the products which are run on electrical power, the products which are there on the streets, the product which you are using. Safety measure is there and it is taken care by the company as a policy, as a standard manufacturing process, as some kind of international standard which they are supposed to follow. We call it as IS standards, international standards, which are based on BS, that is called as British standard. So BS we follow in India because we know the reason British have controlled our country for 200 years. So they left many things to us. So British standard is one, based on that we follow. We have created Indian standards, and there are international standards to be followed. So clubbing of BS and IS are the international standards. So whether you are manufacturing anything, there are certain international standards to be followed. Each and every part which comes to your manufacturing activity. If the car you are taking, only the car engine will have some 5,000 different types of parts in that engine. Maybe some screws and visors and bolts and many other things. Only for engine car. So if you take the entire cars, there are some thousands and lakhs of components of a car. So when you are thinking about one component getting imported from some another supplier, you will have to tell them what kind of quality product, raw material which you want. And then you should also expect it to follow all the norms which you are talking about, standard raw material quality. And then if the raw material quality is good, you will have to again standardize operating processes, SOPs that you will follow. Your finished good is going to be of quality. So when we talk about quality, in management we say quality can never be achieved by accident. Quality is never an accident. गलती से अच्छा हुआ ऐसा कभी होता है? It is that meaning. Quality is never an accident. So you have to purposefully plan the quality by planning quality raw material, following all the standard processes. Then only your finished good is going to be of quality. So there we are talking about health and safety of the people, health and safety of society, indirectly health and safety of the employees also. In the way I just given you an example, somebody meets with an accident and he doesn't get a compensation. So what should happen in such cases? So the company has got standard rules and regulations of safety at the workplaces, based on which there is an act called as Compensation Act. So if somebody meets with an accident in the company premises, he loses his finger, this thumb, there is different compensation. If he loses thumb, he has got maximum compensation, because if you don't have thumb, you cannot operate your mobiles. Right? Jokes apart, but the thumb has got the highest importance among the 5 fingers. So if somebody loses only thumb in the accident in the company, he will get some highest compensation as far as 5 fingers are concerned. He will probably get less compensation for this, less than this, and probably slightly more than this. So based on the importance of the fingers in your day-to-day working, the compensation will be given to you. If somebody loses this part of the hand, right hand, left hand, the compensation is different. If I am a right-hand writing person, If I lose my right hand, I'll get a different higher compensation. If I lose my left hand, I'll get less compensation. But somebody who's lefty, he will get more compensation if he loses his left hand. Again, losing left hand, right hand, losing ears, losing eyesight, losing some parts of the body, the compensation chart is there in the act called as the Compensation Act. So the companies have to follow the safety of the employees as well. Health of the employees also to be followed, because there is something called as occupational health. Occupational health is related to you are likely to come across some kind of occupational diseases or some kind of illnesses because of the work which you are doing. Say for example, the people who are working in the mines which is below the ground, they are likely to have shortage of oxygen there. And they will leave carbon dioxide. They are working in the mines, so they are in the environment where there is a lot of carbon dioxide, so they are inhaling again carbon dioxide. So they will never inhale or very rarely inhale a pure oxygen. So those are the people who are likely to have asthma or some respiratory diseases or diseases related to lungs. So why this is happening? Because of the occupation, because of the profession they are into. The teachers earlier days, not nowadays, but then school days you might be having the chalkboard, and the teacher used to write the chalk and a blackboard. So that chalk dust has created asthma problem to many of the teachers. So that is called as an occupational health problem. Most of you will come across the problems in the workplaces because you will be sitting in a chair for 8 hours. So that will also develop some kind of spondylitis or maybe back pain or neck pain kind of a disease, which is because of your occupation. The workers who are working in front of the machine for 8 hours, they are standing in the front of machine for 8 hours at one particular position. Can you do that standing at one position? That was a punishment given to in the schools. Not to leave from a place, standing raho ya to pav pakad ke khade raho. It is very difficult. You are likely to develop some kind of illnesses because of standing position. Elephant leg is an illness which has been found in work. So because of the kind of work which you are doing, even during Corona times you might have read in the newspaper that many doctors and nurses have died. Why? Because they cannot avoid going near to the patients. So because of the environmental issues, they lost their lives. So because of the profession, because of occupation you are into, you are also likely to develop some kind of disease. So therefore, if you go to chemical factories, if you go to manufacturing factories, they will give special masks. I've seen it in, which is that company, I'm likely to forget such names in between. Okay, there's a company, it's a government organization of course, they manufacture some kind of armors which are required for the government, and there are a lot of chemicals involved. So the health and safety is taken care. There's a box where the person is supposed to mix the chemicals. He will be only putting his hands inside because the fumes which are generated are likely to be dangerous for him. So the safety and health of that occupational health which is likely to be in danger, that is also taken care by the company. So it is the organization's responsibility that if because of the working conditions, if somebody is likely to suffer because of certain illnesses or certain permanent diseases, certain temporary diseases, it becomes their responsibility ethically and value system that they are taking care of the health. And of course, health and safety of the society as well. CSR of course is a part which we discussed. Okay, there are these different types of values. Transcultural values, if you could read the definition. Equality, communication, respect, open-mindedness, honesty, truth, calmness, appreciation, politeness, cooperation, teamwork, and punctuality. Transculture means between any two cultures. So, irrespective of country, irrespective of religion, caste, these values have to be followed. Transcultural competence is the process in which a person adopts multiple ways of perceiving, evaluating, believing, solving the problems, understand and learn cultural diversity amongst nations. So in this entire slide, most important word is cultural diversity among the nation. So if you happen to travel from this country and let's say your organization asks you to get transferred to some another country, you are supposed to go and stay there till the time the company asks you to come back. You will have to get yourself accustomed to the ways that country culture people follow, their lifestyles, then their work culture. I'll give you a very simple example. if you go to any US company or any European company, you can call your boss by the first name. That doesn't happen in our country. Like even if somebody is very hardly senior by 1 year or 2 years than you, then you have to respect that person, maybe calling sir or madam like that. Nobody calls, even the CEO is also called by the first name. So we will have to get accustomed ourselves to the culture which is stayed there, which is a part and parcel of the cultural diversity. So most of the Eastern countries, they do have got a different way of respecting the people. Most of the Western countries have got a different way of respecting the people. That is just one example. Their work ethics are also different. They are different in the sense, in a different way they practice it. It's not that those are unethical. Ethical practices are practiced in different way. Most of the things there are, as it is happening in our country, fortunately, most of the things are online. So there is no possibility that there is something called as a human interference in the system. So you cannot do any kind of manual adjustment. So you have to log into the system, and system will calculate everything. How much time you are sitting on that desk for working. Just I can give you a simple example, your handset. So there are some handset features available. How many times in a day you lifted the handset for no reason? At 10 o'clock at night, you will get that message popping up on your screen that during an entire day you lifted the handset for 129 times and it was on the table for 29 seconds, somewhat like that. You will get that kind of step. Why this is possible? Because of the technology which is happening. Most of the things in our country is nowadays, or most of the things are nowadays being computerized or becoming online. That is making the systems more transparent. Like if you want to get a license, if you want to renew your passport, if you want to get your Shopify license, everything earlier you used to have to catch hold of some agent. You have to pay him very heavy money, and then he will give you the things back to you. Whereas the actual official fees required online may be even less than 10% of what you paid to the day. So what we are trying to think about the cultural diversity. If somebody comes to India from some foreign countries, typically the developed countries, they will always find that they catch up the आपके country में, because the systems are totally different what they follow in that country. One of my friends has visited India. He was in India long back. Now he shifted to New Zealand. For last 15 years he is settled in New Zealand. So he was telling me how the things there are different, and he was praising Indian government that most of the Indian government systems are much better than what they are in New Zealand. In New Zealand, to get the passport renewed, he said I had to wait for 1 full month. In India nowadays you can get the passport just in 2 to 3 days on a category called as urgent passport. Otherwise also you will get it in 15 days, maximum 15 days. You go to passport renewal authority or taking a new passport, you will get book an appointment online. If it is 2 p.m. to 2:15 p.m., 2 o'clock they will get you in 2:15 sharp. You are out of that office. So our government is also improving to a greater extent. Why? Because they want to match up with our cultural diversity which is there in the other countries, other advanced countries. Most of the advanced countries have got everything automated, attendance system automated. Now it has come up to our country. But it was there earlier in most of the other countries. You log into your system, your attendance will be marked when you are sitting on the table. You are out of your machine, that machine will record it, how many times you are working. In effective of 8 hours, how much amount of time you actually work there. So all those things which were possibly not measurable earlier, with the help of technology now it is possible to measure. Again, from the point of view of maintaining this transcultural value. So every country wants to bring themselves at par with other advanced countries, so to speak. And we have to follow that. So transcultural thing evolving, encompassing, extending across 2 or more cultures. So all these things which you have to think differently, look at the things differently, skills, capabilities, knowledge, technology, experiences are better facilitated by cross-cultural approach. So that's the reason why somebody comes back from US or advanced countries, we look at him from with the help of kind of a different kind of a respect. Oh, you're coming back from USA, because he has got these skills, knowledge, technology more developed as compared to our country still. India is still said to be 20 years behind advanced countries. But that gap is reduced. I think we have been still 10 years even as of today. It's only because of technology. Now, when you are a manager working in some company, and typically the company which we call as the MNC, multinational company, it may be Indian MNC, means company formulated here in India, but then went abroad and two different countries. That is why we call it the Indian MNC. The company, the country in which the company takes birth, that name is given to the company. Indian MNC means it has started in India. Ethos is one example. Wipro is another example. TCS is another example. So it is formulated in India, and then it went on global. So there are other foreign MNCs. Maybe some companies started in Japan. Maybe Suzuki, Japanese MNC. Honda, Japanese MNC. So they started in Japan, originated in Japan. That country's name is given. So when you are working in some such company, MNC, which has got more branches other than India, out of India, then you are said to be the manager, and you are supposed to follow the trans-cultural values, which are those unbiased personality. So you should not have to have kind of biases for a person who's coming from Western India or coming from Europe or coming from America. You should not have to have a negative bias. Positive bias you can always have, in the sense that that person must be expert as compared to us, which may not be always the case. Otherwise, as told you last time, most of the big notch companies have got the Indian CEOs, because Indians are still said to be proven to be more intelligent as compared to any individual human being on the earth. Intelligence-wise, those are more better. So from that perspective, if you are respecting the intelligence ability of somebody, then it's okay. But you shouldn't have negative bias. Loyalty towards the workers, cooperation with each other, open-mindedness, transparency. So these all even are required in our own country as well. But you have to be more categorical and more specific, more careful rather, when you are trans-culture. Clear objectives, self-discipline, we have spoken a lot. Managing interpersonal roles, socially responsible, inspiration to give. All these things are discussed in the values in general earlier. So those are not only required in our country, not only required in transcultural, but within our country itself. This list contains credibility among the stakeholders. That means your brand image of the company. Basic human values which are listed here, which will help the decision making. Nothing to explain. Profit making is one value every manager is expected to, I would say, take care. Because when a salary is paid to you, the company will be expecting at least 10 times of return from you, minimum. So in a way, you are expected to bring a value and give back to the, in financial terms, also back to the company who's paying you. So you should always think about profit making of your company. It is not the job of only marketing or sales people to make the profit for the company. And it is not only the marketing department who brings in the profit. So it all from connected with all the departments, linked with each other, and profit making is a responsibility of every individual department. Credibility is same thing. Employees credibility, individuals credibility, clear objectives, self-discipline is a key. Okay, these are from our Indian ideologies or Indian scriptures. These are the Sanskrit words which you know, which are supposed to be followed. Satya is truth, Dharma is right conduct. Dharma is called as Dharayati Saha Dharma, means whichever I am adopting. I should be adopting certain good things in me. That is right conduct, all ethical norms. Shanti means peace is expected, Prema means love, and Ahimsa means non-violence. These are the 5 important values to be followed by everybody on the earth. Nothing to do with the country. Then socially concerned, compassionate, liberal, inclusive. Inclusive is one thing which is gaining a lot of importance nowadays. So there are companies who are employing the LGBT category people as well. Give a search on Google later, so that you will come to know what is meant by L, what is meant by G, what is B, E. So where we are talking about inclusiveness in the employment. There are the companies which are having certain seats reserved for women and girls, because they want to remove that kind of a differentiation between men and women. A typical masculine kind of a job nowadays, there are women and there are girls working. So all the jobs which was the only prerogatives of men or male, there all the females and girls are working nowadays. It's only because of inclusiveness. Even handicapped people are given special priority than the people who have lost their vision or they cannot hear, deaf and dumb people, they are given special priorities, so that they are also included. The transgender people are also nowadays in many companies are employing transgender people. So that is where we are talking about inclusive as a value, which earlier never used to happen. Ethical being human and planet, people and profit. These are the three P's to be followed. Planet means earth, so you are not endangering the environment anyway. You are taking care about the people, your own people and the society, and you are working there for a profit. No organization will be working not to make the profits. So profit making is the job, responsibility of every individual. So these needs to be taught in management education. Honesty, integrity, willingness to take risk, optimism, enthusiasm. Again, most of these characteristics, if you see, these are related to every individual. I cannot make to increase enthusiasm amongst you. So it is you who are supposed to increase from within. I might send you on some kind of training, enthusiasm training or stress relieving training, but then once you come back, it is your own responsibility to work on that. So enthusiasm, optimism, I cannot develop. There are training programs which will improve optimism, they will hypnotize you, it will happen only during that point. But once you are again back to the work, this should continue. Optimism, enthusiasm, willingness to take risks, honesty, integrity. There are no training programs which would develop. During the training program or maybe at the time of training program, you will get a feeling that aisa karna chahiye. We should behave like this. We should not be dishonest. I should be integrated. I should be engaged with the company. But once you come back, then you will again start behaving with the old way what you used to be, because it is a part and parcel of the personality of the human being. Therefore, I have been repeatedly telling you there is a list of values which are said to be followed by all of us, every one of us. But then how much of those we follow, that will make your virtue. So honesty, integrity, I have given you a few examples which has made clear that honesty is a value we know. But then whether you are honest or not, that will decide whether you are following these values as your virtues. Willingness to take risk is more talked about for the entrepreneurs. So if you want to start with a new business, you have to have the willingness to take the risk. Now willingness is dependent upon affordability, whether you do have the that much amount of money to take a risk. So government is supporting you. So you take the risk on the cost of the government. Government will give you 10 lakh, 20 lakh rupees to start your business. So if you have guts, if you have got ability, if you are very much sure that your business will going to be running, then you can set to have the willingness to take risk. With all said and done, with all the support from the government, it is found that 8 out of 10 businesses, new businesses, entrepreneurial ventures started in India are failures. Means 8 out of 10 people don't return their money to government, 10 lakh, 20 lakh, whatever you take. Why? Because they probably have the willingness to take the risk, but then they have not calculated into the future. It's not only willingness to take the risk, it matters. Everybody would be able to say, okay, I am ready to take the risk. But then what about the future? What about your business? Do you have your business? Do you have your product? Do you have your services which is required by the society? And are you sure whether you will be able to progress your business or not? So that is what we mean by willingness to take the risk. Optimism is probably a very philosophical thing. No, I am sure this will happen. So thinking positive. But then that really works. Some of the spiritual sciences, they talk about it. They say never talk negative. Never say no. Because some spiritual science says that no word will keep on moving in this air, in this space, and that will affect you. So always be positive, always be optimistic. So that may be a spiritual or a philosophical thing, but if you can work on it, that really works. Commitment to growth and vision. Pragmatism means being practical, being logical, being rational. Very often, if you have some very eccentric idea which only you think will be successful, and rest all other managers or other concerned people will say, nahi hoga. In that case, you have to be thinking practical, thinking rational. So you have to prove by what you want to say, how it is going to change, what is that point which you are very much sure about, that you are making a confident yes to the new concept which you are giving. So that's what we talk about pragmatism, which might be required in management in your workplaces. The responsibility, hard working, conscientiousness, and being careful, being meticulous, being reliable, being willingness, careful, expert. Self-confidence, emotional intelligence. People are talking about EI, and there is one more step. Earlier, people used to talk about IQ. The person who was at higher IQ, intelligent quotient, was selected without probably taking interviews. IQ test they used to conduct, and he is a brilliant person, found IQ more than 120, take him in. But now people are talking about typically in managerial area, in area where you will be fitting in. They are talking about EI, emotional intelligence. Means how you are able to, number one, control your own emotions, understand your own emotions, and secondly, understand the emotions of others. And the score higher on EI side, then it is said to be that you are a very high EI quotient person. And there is one more step going ahead called as SQ, that is spiritual quotient. And people nowadays in industry management, people are talking about spiritual quotients. How you are a balanced person. How don't you get haywire by your emotions? How you can control all your feelings, emotions. How you can remain balanced in all the situations. You are not too much overwhelmed by happiness, not too much sad by some negative things happening to you. You are not too much get praised by the situation, by the people around. You are not too much get affected by if your people are humiliating you. So you are supposed to be a balanced person. That's what we call the spiritual quotient. So starting from IQ, then EQ, and then now people are talking about SQ. And there's one more step ahead, not a step, but there's one more concept called as a PQ, that is political quotient. Means how do you handle the situation at that particular time? Very often you may not have to think about EQ and your own balance, but then you will have handled that situation in a very tactfully. So when we say you handle the situation tactfully, you are trying to encash on your political quotient. How you have been, like politicians do. So they handle the situation very tactfully, so that there is no agitation among the followers. So if you have that tact or that knack of handling the situation without hurting anybody, then you are said to have your PQ high. So starting from IQ, then EQ, then spiritual quotient, and then political quotient. That is the hierarchy in general, but the spiritual quotient is at the top. Then your expertise in industry, you are expected to improvise. Once you join a company as a manager, your journey doesn't end there. Your journey starts from there. Because whatever, even still today, the industries are talking about whatever we expect from a management graduate, we don't get it. Education system don't provide that. I remember I am into education system since 98. So 24-25 years I am there in education. And since then we were talking that whatever is taught in management education is not useful to the industries. And today also we are talking the same. What you people are learning, your all knowledge when you go to the industry is of not any use. And there are the feedbacks from industry that once you join there, they will ask you, "Kya aapke college mein sikhaya nahi kiye?" Where they are trying to find and show us that there is still a gap. Still, even after 24 years, we are talking about that gap still exists. What industry expects and what education institutions are providing, there is a gap. Where we are talking about expertise which you are expected to develop to become a manager, that is not happening. So what is the solution? As I said, we are talking this for last 25 years, 30 years. We are talking the same today. The solution, one of my PhD students has come out with the solution. That if suppose I am an industry and I want say XYZ skill to be there in the person which I want to hire, and your syllabus is not having those skills taught to you. Say I am an engineering industry, and though you are an engineer and though you are an MBA production or PGDM production with the production operations supply chain specialization, still the kind of operations which I have in my company are not taught in your syllabus. Quite obvious. Supposing you are say learning a subject of service management, services management, where you are giving service, airport or the airport lounge is one of the services which you provide to all the customers who are flying. So you have passed out of PGDM, you got a job in the front office of a airport or airport authority. But then whatever is expected of you, so kind of humility what you have, the kind of decency what you have, kind of soft skills which you are supposed to possess, those might have been taught to you. But the real application of working on those systems on the aeroplane or aerodrome are not taught to you. Getting my point? Same thing happens even if you have an engineering background with MBA or PGDM with specialization in supply chain and operations, but when you are working with an engineering company which was not a part and parcel of your syllabus, you will be a big failure there, and it's still happening. So what is the solution? One of my students has come out with a solution. He has done a research or PhD under my guidance. He has tied up with one company I am not again telling the name of the company for the sake of maintaining the secrecy or confidentiality. So he approached to the company and he inquired what kind of students, engineering graduates do you want? So company told them that he should be able to operate this X machine, he should be able to deal with this kind of raw material supply, he should be able to prepare a purchase order, he should be able to recover the material, check the quality of the material, so on and so forth. So the company gave him the list of somewhere around 25-30 different things which are not a part and parcel of syllabus, obviously, because that is not a typical application oriented teaching which we do. We give you generalized teaching of production supply chain management, which may not be applicable to all the types of industries. So he got the list from the company, he designed a course of 3 months, then he approached to some institution in Pune, engineering college in Pune, and then he told that there is a vacancy, there are vacancies, say about 50 engineers we want to recruit in some XYZ company. And then these engineers should be production or mechanical engineers, but then they should have to have this knowledge which your syllabus doesn't have. So I have come out with a syllabus which is going to be for 30 hours, means we have 1 credit course. So the 30 hours training will be given by the company to the students who want to get the job in this company for free. They don't have to pay to the company anything for getting this 30 hours training, but then the time 30 hours you have to give extra. Over and above that, the company will, after completion of the 30 hours course, the company will take you on the role of the company. After you complete the training, after the company selects you, and still you don't want to join the company, that is also allowed. See, everything is on the side of the student. That I will give you training for free. I will give you a placement. After placement, if you decide not to work with me, that is also okay. Is this situation good for you? That any company coming to the placement, for example, Starbucks comes to you for a placement and they will tell you, we'll give you a training of 30 hours how to behave with the customers when you are a coffee vendor, maybe waiter, whatever you call. So I'll give you all that kind of training for free, 30 hours of training. I'll give you an international exposure. I'll send you to some country. There you will stay there for 1 month's time in the shop, actually on the workplaces, and then that is also free. I'll make you to and fro arrangement, you stay arrangement, food arrangement for free. You do that course. After that, I will give you a placement of 1 lakh rupees per month and will place you somewhere in Starbucks outlet in Mumbai. So that your CTC package will go somewhere in 20 lakh rupees, 12 lakh rupees will get in hand. And after that, after we give you an offer, that time you will decide, okay, I will not work with Starbucks, I will work with barista. I don't want to take this job. Still Starbucks is okay for that. They will say, okay, you don't want to work with, it's fine, you can work with wherever you want. Or you decide, I don't want to work with coffee manufacturing company at all. I want to work with manufacturing. Still okay. So this scheme was developed as an outcome of PhD thesis of one of my students. So he approached that company, he developed that course and he implemented, and every year the company is implementing 50 such engineers, giving free of cost training, then placement, and then an option not to select the placement. And now they don't have any words to say, whatever we are expecting from academics, the students don't have. Because every BE mechanical applying for that position, these students who have undergone the 30 hours of program, they have got more skill, expertise in that type of the industry. And what this is decided based on some value system which that XYZ company has thought of. That whenever we want to hire the people, those people we want to be expert in a particular area. If they are not, we will give them the training, we will give them free of cost training, we will employ them, and we still have a policy that they have got a choice not to come to us. This is a value system designed by that company, and that is percolated to the level of giving the free training and developing the expertise of the people. And the cases are there. Out of these 50, there were only 4 or 5 who decided not to go to this company. After 1 year working with some other company, they came back to this earlier company. They said, no, we want to work with you. Why that value system ultimately worked? So that is expertise in industry. Ability to engage others, ability to work with others, we have had a long discussion about engagement. So the same rule, same kind of philosophy is applicable here. Everybody is engaged with each other. Everybody is tied up emotionally with each other. So when that time, that engagement happens, then the people are always happy, delighted in the workplace. Now these are some secular value systems and these are spiritual. Now when we say spiritual, I have discussed just now. Spiritual is being balanced, remaining balanced always, not to lose your patience, not to lose your heart, not to get yourself, your health, your well-being, anything, your mind, your body getting affected. That's what we call it as spirituality. So secular means something what we do, we think about in our day-to-day life. I want to have high salary, high ranking, high positions, nice company to work with, good location to have a bungalow, my bungalow near to the seashore. From my bedroom I can see the entire sea. That may be dream. Owning some high brand car, flying to different countries, having some houses in some other countries, making a lot of property, making money, making my children also live like that. So all those comes under secular, which are also called as materialistic values, which all of you should have to have. There is nothing wrong in it. So thoughts and philosophies by management gurus. So all the management gurus which we have been learning, you will be learning in 2 years time. Those are talking about all management gurus, right from Peter Drucker, F.W. Taylor. You might have learned these names, heard these names, that is Douglas McGregor. So these people are talking about the situation, real life situations in the workplaces. And they will tell you that, taking the example of F.W. Taylor, he has got 14 principles how one should work. Those are nothing but the ethical norms which you as a worker or you as a manager is expected to follow when you are in the working environment. So that is what these management gurus will be talking. There are a few examples here later. Management thoughts and theories will give you secular values. All the management syllabus which will be teaching to you, those are nothing but the thoughts and theories, philosophies, different kind of models people have developed. Then treat the management values based on science and facts. All the management philosophies are based on facts. Again, giving an example of F.W. Taylor, who is known for, what is his contribution? Anybody knows? F.W. Taylor has been given some name. Father of scientific management. What he has done the things based on a fact. He actually used to stay on a shop floor. He used to calculate how much amount of time the worker is requiring to make a particular operation. Say 10 seconds, but then for performing that operation, that worker used to go to that material place, then he used to bring the material, set the material on the machine, then set the tool, and then take the action. So actually process was taking 10 seconds. The preparation was taking somewhere around 50 seconds. So 1 minute was required. Out of that, the productive minutes were only 10. So is it possible that this 50 seconds could be reduced to 10 seconds and the production time could be increased? So this is absolutely based on the real facts, and there is a science involved in it. And then we have got the concepts like ZIT, zero inventory technique, or just in time, then production planning and control. So all those things are devised based on certain kind of studies which have been done. So those studies are based on science and facts. Materialistic and task oriented, professionalism we talk about delivering the goods of the given particular time, following all the terms and conditions of your guarantee or warranty. That is professionalism. Materialistic and task oriented means materialistic, I have just not told you. What are your wishes, what are your goals in the life, which could be counted in the forms of money. So all the monetary dreams could be finding as a materialistic or task oriented dreams. Concerned with the world improvement. So all the secular values or all these philosophers in management, they are talking about improvising the world. Even this Facebook owner, yes, Mark Zuckerberg, he has come out with new concept. Are you aware of it? Metaverse. What is there? The purpose of world improvement. He is going to make a lot of money. He has already put in 100 billions of rupees in developing a metaverse. In another 23, 24. So by 1 year or 2 years, that metaverse is going to be affecting all your generation a lot. And he said that people are going to make a lot of money, millions of rupees out of it. So ultimately, what is thinking about developing the world itself by using the technology. And we have been doing it. We have seen, rather, I am the witness how at my generation we never had any kind of technology. I have seen the age till my graduation. The computers never came to India. So I have seen that era, and now your technological era. You are likely to see metaverse coming for your children. Probably they will be more expert than you in using that metaverse more effectively. Ultimately, the world is going to be getting improved to a greater extent. We never have thought of ordering something online. There was one video which I received yesterday only about wishing a Diwali. And it was an incident that one small child is seeing his grandfather going to a bank every day, is going to the post office, going to the medical shop, going to the hospital, going to the school physically, and going to small shops to purchase certain things. The child is saying to the grandfather, "Grandpa, what are you doing? Nowadays everything is online. You can go to Amazon and you can order, the material will come directly to your home." Grandpa doesn't say anything, he simply laughs and okay. Then some 2-3 days after, grandpa receives a call from somebody and he tells that your wife is admitted in a hospital and you come there. So grandpa along with the children, they go there. And the child could observe that all the people who are sitting there are those vegetable vendors to whom the grandfather used to go, the medical shop owner, grandfather used to go, the hotel owner, grandfather used to meet, the post office person, grandfather used to physically go. And then the grandfather said, if your grandmother admitted, she was fallen on the street, all these people have taken your grandmother to the hospital. What will happen to your online vendors? Will they come? Again, the learning of this is, we are talking about concern with world improvement. So though the world is improving, it is said at the end of the video that value system is somewhere which is missing. So wherever all these medicines, then you can order through Zomato, Swiggy, then your pizzas and burgers you will order online, you will order medicines online, you will order food online, you will go to you will do all the transactions in the bank online, everything you can do it online. But if some mishap happens, online vendors won't be of any help. So it is a personal connect which matters, and therefore the video, at the end of the video, that person says, therefore I am wishing all of you personally the very happy Diwali well in advance, 1 day, 1 week, and then he is saying, but then he is again wishing on the YouTube. So he is not personally wishing coming to you in person. Okay, what I am trying to tell you is ultimately every management guru, all the secular values are thinking about improvement in the world per se. Maximizing profit without discrimination of the workforce, that is the ultimate intention of any businesses, to maximize the profit. Treat management values as evolutionary concepts. Evolutionary means which has evolved through years. It is not that over a night something has changed. That concept is also there in management. We call it as, there is one word for that. It will totally change it will totally stop what we were doing earlier, and you will come out with total new concept. There is one word which I am not recollecting. Okay, if somebody remembers, tell me, otherwise I will come to it after something. So those concepts have been there in management. So even overnight, yes, revolutionary name. That's revolution. That is very common. It's not a common. Disruptive technologies. Disruptive means it will wash away all your earlier practices and it will come out with altogether new. Anybody has anybody thought of some 20 years before that you can communicate to anybody on the earth without any physical connection between them, which is happening nowadays also. Somebody has thought of it, but then to bringing it to the reality, this particular concept had come into the practice. So it has disrupted all you will never come across nowadays landline with any company. Right? Because it is disrupted. Companies do have for intercom system, but then nobody calls anybody on landline unless it is a specification by the company. So landlines are totally disrupted by mobile technology, and everybody is having handsets. So that those kind of things are happening in all the fields. So you will be very cautious about it, because in that case you are, or rather you are expected to be in pace with what is happening in a particular field. Then values are not generally ethical by nature. It says that secular values are not ethical. So if I want to make money, it is said that you cannot make money without any kind of what I would say. I have to earn it by some negative ways only. I cannot, by being honest, I cannot make more money. That's a philosophy. But then maybe the fact at times. So views of values are not generally ethical by nature. That's what secular value says. Contribution of Indian thoughts is comparatively poor as far as secular values are there. So all your management syllabus if you take out, and if you see the books for reference, You'll always find the foreigner books or most of the books from eastern side, western side, from USA, from Europe, and we believe on that. The theories, philosophies given by them. So Indian thoughts are very much poor as far as secular values are concerned because they are more on the right hand side, and secular system ignores caste, color, religion, etc. Examples given are few examples which you might be knowing. Maslow's need hierarchy, you might have studied. Peter Drucker has come up with the concept of management by objectives. Auchi is a scientist from Japan who has come up with theory Z. McKinsey has come up with 7S framework. So all these concepts are there, which are definitely based on some science and time, but which are more oriented towards work improvement, task orientation, professionalism, making more money, okay, more materialistic, and making more profits. Exactly on the other side, spiritual values are talking more about, or these are from more spiritual gurus. There are many even in today's era. They are talking the same. They are coming out of the spiritual thoughts. They treat management values of philosophy. They treat work as a worship. That is a philosophy which is taught to us in school. Work as a worship. Concerned with the religions and beliefs in every individual. So we respect every religion. We respect every ism. We respect every caste. Molding the individual character. The most important word is character, because character will bring in certain positive values and develop those kind of virtues. We have got the sources such as Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, Upanishads, etc. We have studied some of the part in module 1. Few are likely to come up later. So spiritual values are more ethical and moral in true sense, and contribution of Indian thoughts is magnificent. Because whatever world is following today is based on Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Upanishad. Bible and Quran are not from India, but other than which is missing here is Arthashastra, Kautilya's Arthashastra, which is again born in India. The entire economics is based on Arthashastra, which is born in India. All the businesses are have what I have come out. I don't know whether I have taught to you about that, but I have written a book on Bhagavad Gita. All your management syllabus is included in Bhagavad Gita. All 700 verses. I could come across around 400 plus principles, philosophies, theories which you people are learning as a management syllabus was already there in Bhagavad Gita. So which came first? Bhagavad Gita came first or Peter Drucker came first? So it is all Indian creatures, literature in the form of Mahabharata, Ramayana. People have done a lot of research on learnings from Ramayana, learning from Mahabharata, learning from Shivaji Maharaj, leadership from Namdas. So all those are from Indian philosophies, and I won't say, but then probably that is the only book available in the world, that management learning from Bhagavad Gita. If you go to Amazon and find my book there, that's the only book available. So I could come across with all these philosophies which you're learning. Maslow's need hierarchy was there, analytics is already found there, foreign direct investment was there. So you name the concept in management and it is found in Bhagavad Gita. Point is, we are talking about spiritual values. Those spiritual values, we are also talking certain things about secular values in the form of today's businesses. So those management principles, philosophies would be connected together to each other. I think last few slides. What is the time? 12. 11:55. So we just finish in next 5 to 10 minutes. We are supposed to take a break at 12. Okay, so important values of work culture or workplace. Values are the foremost thing which makes a company. There is a phrase in English called as makes or mars, M-A-R-S. Mars का जो मराठी में मीनिंग है, हिंदी में मारना. So make or mar. Mar is a English word, but then it has got the same meaning as we have got in हिंदी में बोलते हैं किसी को मारना है. Same meaning. Mar means disrupt or to make somebody create a non-positive impression in the mind of the society, or to be totally ineffective is marring your company. So your value system will either make your company or mar your company. Means your value system can develop a positive brand image or a negative brand image, that depends upon the philosophy. So that is why the values are important, and those will make the company to make. It promotes cooperative environment in the company. We have seen the team values, individual values, dependency on each other, honesty, integrity, then respecting each other, cooperating with each other. Those all are talking about cooperative environment. Promotes positivity among employees. We have discussed in employee engagement, employee satisfaction. Enhances interpersonal behavior. So if you follow all the values of respecting people, automatically this will improvise. Prevents chaos in the organization, so there will be no problems and no confusions. The values makes an employee work for a common goal, that is integrity we have talked about. It maintains discipline with the organization. Values set the tone of the company's culture. Values in simple terms is nothing but the company's culture. Values within the workplace attracts more employees. So the companies which are valuable companies, the companies who follow the value, you will see that they are always progressing. They have diversified businesses, the number of employees increase, their profits keep on increasing, and then it will always be a fruitful company. Helps the growth of the company financially, number-wise, etc. Right things are done at the right time. Uphold the fundamental responsibilities, improve the performance of every individual, company, group, team, etc. And the smooth function of the company can be possible when such values are important. Nothing to be explained, I suppose, with a few statements. That assessing the recruitment process, it distinguishes yourself in the market. Yourself means your company in the market. Provides the edge to compete. Your competition also becomes what we call the sound competition and a fair competition. Individual also will get a proper growth, makes one orderly, means discipline. The company is known by the culture it keeps, and to sure or to promise the existence. Few more things: being accountable, making difference, focusing details, delivering quality, being honest, keeping promises, being reliable, being positive, making deadlines. All these would be standardized words which you can connect into the company and value systems. Values help you to gain self-respect, nothing to explain, clear about what you want. Decision making will be definitely helped by the values. You will always remain motivated, focused, engaged, and can enjoy the life. Mahatma Gandhi says this: your beliefs become our thoughts, your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny or maybe your culture. So it starts from your beliefs. So if you don't believe whatever I am talking for last 3 hours is all humbug, then nothing of the rest of the thing will happen. So you have to go in the same process. Your beliefs has to be get transferred to your thoughts. Thoughts should become your words. So accordingly you will speak the same words. Your words will become your action. You will behave in the same words. Your actions will become your habits, and once you are habituated to those actions, then it will become your value system or virtue system, and then that will become your destiny. So more honest you are, your life will also be honest. It's not to be explained. Okay, so this test will be conducting online later. So here we complete module 2. After the break for 1.5 hours, so we'll meet at 1 o'clock sharp. 1 to 2:30, 2:25. We'll start with unit number 3 because I have got only 2 days in my hands. 3 days, tomorrow and next 2 days. And I have to finish still 3 units. So even if I consider 1 day each, so I'll still require 1 day per module. In module number 3, there are a few videos which I'll be showing it to you. That time this system will try to see, or I'll get my speaker so that there won't be any problem. Just like this, the module number 1, we will have test on MCQ test. Open, all the tests are going to be open PDF test or open book test. Only the limitation of a time. Within the time you will have to complete 60 or 50 or 40. I have not devised the questions for module 3, 4 and 5. So then very soon I will do it. I am ready with 1 and 2. So second test we will discuss when to have first test, that we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So you can take a break of 1 hour sharp.